As I look back at 1974 and then think about myself coming into the company, John, I think you had mentioned the Inland Empire in Riverside, San Bernardino, and I remember us going down to San Diego and the purchase there and building that, and then moving into Los Angeles and bringing that young man, Mike Marconi, into that as we purchased that company, which became the national lender division that Mike's built over the last 24 years or so. But a lot of milestones of growth between 1974 and 2014, where we sit today. Do you have any particular memories about that during the growth?
Certainly I can remember going from the vision of let's make this solid Orange County company, and then quickly the vision of we can do this in additional areas in making these purchases, but always there was one or two individuals in the purchase that were always beneficial. We went into Riverside, and then some guy named John Wiley came to work in Riverside, and we opened San Bernardino, and then we purchased San Diego, and Dave Biber jumps out and building the company there.
Of course, then I remember when we first thought about out-of-state growth, and it was a little bit scary after we had built we had built the Southern California operation, and but what you remember that in Utah? And
Sure, and you know, I'm not going to admit that one of the reasons I looked at Utah is I was flying up there to go skiing, but that had nothing to do with it really. But no, when we looked at it, you and I, and just as we looked at Arizona, the thing that we still looked for was the real estate broker owner in that state, which could understand our vision and was willing to be a partner of ours in some capacity. We could make it work because we had a business connection, which was, if you and I look back on it, I don't know if we were so consciously thinking about it, but it was the same core structure that we built Orange Coast around in California. So when we took that, we saw that it did work out of state. I think that was a big step for us in the way of believing in the fact that we could build a national company.
Of course, Scott introduced us to his brother Mark Weber, who was a great entrepreneurial leader in his own right, and the two of them together brought us into Colorado, which introduced us to Bill Deneville, and I remember in Arizona fairly quickly with Bob McCord, we were able to find a young guy moving from Colorado west by the name of Bill Birding, who now is our general counsel. So I think that finding the pearl in the oyster as we made these acquisitions or growth moves was a continuation of that philosophy of years of strong leaders that we could bring into the organization. I think about that growth around the southwestern part of the country, and then I think about, in addition, going into Nevada next after Utah, Arizona, Colorado. I think about our last 5 years or so of re-entering Northern California and being a statewide company, and then I think about our expansion to the eastern part of the country with our hub in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and the fact that we now cover pretty much the entire country with direct operations in, I think it's 46 states. I have trouble keeping track of that, but it's 46 states now, and we actually have the ability in the other states to service our clients. So it's amazing from a small Santa Ana title company to covering the entire United States now.
It does put a smile on my face, as I said, because to see this thing, I founded in '74 and we began to build '75, '76, grow to a company that wherever we go, when someone mentions title business, they mention Orange Coast Title.